Here's a really quick project that can help you fix your gut, boost your energy levels, and maybe even lose some weight. Check this out. Today we're going to make pickled beets, but we're not going to make them in the conventional way. We're going to do what's called fermenting them. Now, if you've ever eaten pickled beets and you like them and you tried this particular recipe, I think you'll probably never go back to the ones you buy in the store. If you don't like pickled beets, stick around and watch it anyway, because this is something that could potentially really help you. Now, I only need 4 ingredients for mine, but you could always look up more recipes and find different spices that you want to put. The 4 ingredients that I'm using for mine are beets, obviously. Then we have water. You can use filtered water or distilled water, but don't use tap water. We want 1,000 milligrams or a liter or 1,000 milliliters. We want an onion. I'm just using an old onion that I have that I've been using for dinner, so I'm going to go ahead and use that for the pickled beets today. And then salt. You can use sea salt, you can use Himalayan pink salt, whatever you like, but just try to avoid iodized salt. And then of course you'll need your spice. For my particular spice today, I'm just going to use cloves. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is wash and peel the beets. Now I'm not going to do a how-to on how to wash and peel beets, but just go ahead and get them washed and peeled in some clean water. Now you are going to need a little bit of special equipment. What I typically use is the ball fermentation kit. You can usually pick them up at a store, you can get them online. They're about 11 or 12 bucks. They come with 2 lids, so you have 2 wide mouth jar lids that are vented, and then it comes with 2 springs, which keeps all the material below the level of the water, which is going to help prevent any type of mold from building up. So after you've washed and peeled the beets, the next thing we're going to make is the brine. Now I said 1 liter of water or 1,000 milliliters. This is also roughly a quart, 32 ounces. So you're going to use 1 tablespoon of salt. Make sure it's a level tablespoon. You really don't want too much salt in this. We want the salt content to be at about 2%. So 1 tablespoon of salt to 1 liter of water makes the salt brine 2%. This is going to be ideal for fermentation. If you get the salt too much, it's going to actually kill off the bacteria and it won't ferment at all. They're just going to rot. Now the reason why I'm doing the brine before I actually slice the beets is it's going to take a little bit more time for the brine or the salt to dissolve in the water. So if you start this now, by the time you're done slicing the beets and the onions, the brine should be mostly dissolved. Just keep stirring it in between cuts and stuff like that. Okay, couple quick tips. First, wear gloves, otherwise the beets are going to stain your hands. Second, in regards to your jars and your equipment, they don't have to be sterilized, but you can to ensure that there's no problems. But they don't have to be sterilized. Just make sure you don't use tap water or well water unless it's been filtered. Okay, so this is how you pack your jar, and there's a specific order in this. We have to do it this way. You put your spices in first. If you're using cloves of garlic, if you're using allspice, I am only using cloves. Spices first. Then you put in your onions. If you're using onions, you put your onions in on top of the spices. That way, we're ensuring that all the small particles are going to stay below the level of the water. Now you're going to want to slice your beets fairly thin. I kept these marginally thin. The reason why you want to keep them thin is they'll be softer at the end. Now what I'll typically do is I'll take my smaller chunks and those will go on the bottom. This will ensure that they stay down. My bigger chunks I'm going to make sure to save. These will be on top and these are going to push everything down and keep it below the level of the water. Now if you like, you can interchange the onions and the beets. I don't like to do that just so that way they don't come to the top. But it should look about like this. Once you're done with that, you're going to take your well dissolved and well mixed brine and you're going to add the brine to it until you have about 1 inch of headspace, which means 1 inch from the top. You definitely want to make sure that you have enough water to cover everything. You're going to take your spring, put your spring on top, and then put your lid on. The spring is going to ensure that everything stays down. Easy for me to do, huh? Alright, you're going to put this in just like this. It's going to keep everything down. Put it in a warm spot. Keep it at about 70 to 80 degrees. Let it set for about 2 to 3 weeks. After about 2 to 3 weeks, these will be fermented. You can pop them in the refrigerator, take the spring out, put a normal lid on it, and you'll have pickled beets. These are really, really great. I've made these before. I have been wanting to make them for a long time, but I haven't been able to find any beets. If this is a recipe that you like and something that you're going to try, let me know in the comments.